Okay, in this lesson, we're going to learn about how to write about the differences between two numbers in a more sophisticated fifth grade way. So the question is, why does the number 542 have a different value than 324? Explain your thinking. So it's not enough to just say that 542 is larger than 324. It's not enough to say that it's greater than, that the 324 is less than 542. We have to use specific mathematical vocabulary when we are writing a paragraph about the differences. So I'm going to use my knowledge of two things. I'm going to use my knowledge of value and also my knowledge of the differences between place values in base 10. Meaning knowing that each place as it gets larger increases by 10 times the place before it. So I'm going to use these skills to write about the differences between 542 and 324. So I'm going to start by talking about the value, let's see, of the 2 in 542 and the 2 in 324. So they both have the digit 2, but that digit is placed in different places, so that 2 has different values in either number. So I'm going to start by saying the 2 in the number 542 is different from the value of the 2 in 324. The 2 in 542 represents two ones, or just 2, as opposed to the 2 in 324. The 2 in 324 is representative of 2 tens, or 20. I know that the 2 in 324 is one place to the left of the 2 in 542. So the value of this 2 is 10 times greater. So now I've talked about the differences in these values of 2. So I've mentioned A, that the value of the 2 in 542 is just 2, and the value of the 2 in 324 is actually 20, and that value of that 2 in 324 is 10 times the value of the 2 in 542, using what I know about base 10. So at this point I might start a new paragraph and discuss something else that I notice about this number. Meanwhile, the 4 in the number 542 represents 4 tens, and the 4 in 324 represents 4 ones. This means that the 4 in 324 is 10 times less than the 4 in 542. So again, I'm comparing these digits. I'm saying to myself, well, both numbers have 4 in them, but what's the difference between them? What does the 4 represent in each number? And then what's the comparison of the 4 in both numbers? And then I can go ahead and just kind of talk about the values are different in the hundreds place as well. The value of the 5 in 542 indicates that there are 5 hundreds. The value of the 3 in 324 indicates that there are only 3 hundreds. And then I'm going to want just a wrap-up statement, just to say the value of the two numbers are very different. So you can see that I'm using my knowledge of a couple place value skills. I'm talking about value. I'm talking about the difference between two digits, knowing what I know, that each place gets 10 times larger than the next. And if you go backwards, each place gets 10 times smaller than the next. So I'm trying to cram all this knowledge together to create a very 5th grade level response. Okay, so let's take a look at another one. Why does the number 13,543 have a different value than 13,453? So at first glance, these numbers kind of look the same, but you'll notice the difference is that there's a 4 in the hundreds place in 13,453 and a 5 in the hundreds place in 13,543. The digits 4 and 5 have just swapped. So both numbers have the same digits, but the placement of those digits in this positional system makes the value different. So what I'm going to say is just that. They have different values. The two numbers, 13,543 and 13,453, have different values because although they have the same digits, the digits placement in each number is different. Therefore, changing the value of the number as a whole. Okay, so I've just kind of set the tone here. Same digits, different positions, and because they're in different positions, the values of the two numbers are different. So I'm going to say in the number 13,543, the hundreds place has a value of, holds, I'm sorry, I'm going to mention the digit first. The hundreds place holds the digit 5, which means the value is 500. In the number 13,453, the hundreds place holds the digit 4, which means the value is only 400. This makes the number different because although it has the same amount of 10,000s and the same amount of thousands, the amount of hundreds is different. In addition, the amount of tens is also different. 13,543 has 4 tens, and 13,453 has 5 tens, making the value different still. Okay, so you can see now I have mentioned that the digits are the same, but the place value and the digits work together to make value, and then I've talked about the differences in the value and kind of what they have the same too. So I'm going to highlight the differences. Here's where I'm talking about the differences. I'm going to highlight that in red. Now, I also mention what they have the same. They have the same amount of 10,000s because a 1 in both numbers falls in the 10,000s place. They also have the same amount of thousands because a 3 in both numbers falls in the thousands place. I could also go as far as to mention the 3 in the ones place if I wanted. So this is actually just kind of touching on the similarities, and then I get back to the differences. So this is a sophisticated response. I'm not just saying that one's bigger than the other. I'm explaining why using my knowledge of value, using my knowledge of base 10. Now it's your turn to practice.